What? But they removed the scene when they're lying about it. What? Oh my god. Why did they remove the scene for? They removed the scene when she... Because of course the other guys come and say, no, we're going here for... That's a terrible guys come and say, no, we are guests today, right? And then Bellmere is like, yeah, okay. You know, and then you kind of have the scene. And then she's like, takes a stand like, no, I love my daughters, right? And she's like, don't lie for me. I have kids, you know. This is my daughters, yeah. And then she kind of stands up for them, you know. Now she just said it immediately. That removed the tension of her lying first, yeah. Bellmere not having the option to lie doesn't make any sense. It completely removes her character. Why doesn't Nojiko know the Nami? Why have they rewritten this makes no effing sense! The reason she has the tattoos is because she wants Nami to look like, you know, she wants to look like Nami, right? The reason she gets tattoos is so she can protect Nami's, you know, mental state or whatever, right? But now she hates Nami. Live action, I mean, isn't like, you know, 0 out of 10, right? I keep saying that. And I find it so disingenuous too, right? Jenny speaking, right? People who defend this live action, they're so incredibly disingenuous. Because they also do this, oh, you're the hater, you hate you, okay? No. I actually seen very few people saying that this show is a 0 out of 10, right? But the actual complaint, or the actual general critique, right, or the scoring, is exactly like I have, right? You know, this is like a 5 or maybe a 6 out of 10 show. Yeah, it's very, very mid, right? Like I think episode 5 is the perfect example of that, because like the Zoro scenes are good, the Mihawk scene before that with Don Krieg and so on is good, right? But like, you know, them just hang out in the restaurant, terrible. Full body, like being nerfed or whatever, bad. Like it's so slow paced inside the restaurant and these random characters, right? Like that is just shit, right? So the episode really is like 50% good, 50% bad, and of course every goddamn Garp scene and so on comments are really terrible, bad paced and so on. And I want to also address that no, this show isn't that good, right? Regardless if you have seen the manga or anime or not, because no, there's a lot of stuff which is really slow. Episode 3 and 4 so far have been by far the worst episodes. I mean, with the Kaya and Usop, that was really dragged out. That was very, very slow. And it feels like fascinating how they removed, you know, Usop's crew and so on, right? They removed his friends. They removed his mom had like a minute of screen time, if even that's all right. Usop had like no flashback or whatever. I don't know. They have so little of stuff actually happening, and yet nothing. Yet it feels really dragged out. Like they could have spent more time on other stuff. I don't know. If I'm impressed how is episode 3 and 4 definitely they were like both slow paced and also rushed in some way. Like how have you? I mean, it's not impossible to accomplish though. I've seen the many other shows before as well, right? Basically, the issue is that they are focusing on something that's really boring and pointless and doesn't add anything to the storyline, right? For far too much time, and on the same time removing the actual important bit, right? Which they actually managed to accomplish, right? Bele-mere finds them, and they're both black. That is more logical than her going to like fictional Sweden and finding, you know, that doesn't make any sense. And if it's gonna be like that, make Bele-mere Asian then, right? Am I the only one? Why isn't Bele-mere like Japanese, okay? If you're gonna push it, oh, they're adopted family and they love each other even if they're not, you know, related by blood, then Bellmere should look like Nami, right? Bellmere should be yet another diversity. That actually would be much better. Actually, not make Bellmere like a Japanese trans woman, you know, a new half, yeah. That would have been progressive, right? I mean it seriously. Then I actually would be like, you know what? This is like, because that actually would make more sense, right? Because if you push the whole idea that they're adopted family, yet they love each other, you know, so to speak, right, in family, yeah, but then she shouldn't be the same race as Nami, right? You know, that actually would be more, like, consistent with that idea, right? In 3 and 4, so yeah, that was pretty terrible. But now then, 7, 8, right, because it's constantly like, Buggy is really cool, King Buggy, yeah, let's have Buggy for like 10 times, you know, 10 times more screen time, right? Now, I like Buggy too, but it's a very evidential behavior that the author has. They constantly are living in the present time, you know, chapters, right? And like last episode, when Zoro suddenly says, "Oh, I'm the first mate!" I'm just like, Zoro's never said in the remote for that. Pretty out of character, and nothing he ever cared about, right? What did they do Hatchan for? Was it because he had so many hands? Where's my favorite fisherman guy? Yeah, it's like, what? There's so many weird changes in these live actions. It's like, what's Hatchan for? He's like the most important member too, you know, after of course Arlong. I mean, not Arlong, yeah, by far. And then they have Buggy's body here for no reason. But that's what I mean. the buggy is so in the show is perfect example of the writer just being like a fanboy on Reddit, you know, and it's a good writer. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna throw it in here. It doesn't actually fit the storyline, but I really want to have more of Buggy because I like Buggy, you know. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Jinbei suddenly appears for 10 minutes. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly we have the Jinbei fish tiger backstory. The blue hair is too blue. I read someone saying on Reddit, and I actually agree with that. Yeah, her hair is too blue, you know. She's supposed to be more like pale blue hairstyle. The wig is like it's too blue. Yeah, it looks like it's clearly a wig, and it's just like too starkly blue. Yeah, so they're immediately going for the I hate you, mom. Yeah, I hate you, mom. Yeah, they're going for the I hate you, mom scene. It feels like it's going too fast. I mean, honestly, why is it happening right now? Before... Yeah, you're not my mom! Yeah, why haven't they seen it right now for? This is way too quick, I feel. It's weird storytelling. That they're going... Yeah, this should be way later in the episode. This is very strange. Because, I mean, remember in the manga and anime, of course, Nojiko is the one to explain them the truth, right? This is very strange. They're just like throwing it at us right now, before we see Luffy getting there. And they're actually not like learning her backstory, they're just her reminiscing. Instead of having her, like, in the manga, of course, Nojiko actually explains the backstory to the guys, right? Which is makes a lot more sense than Nami used to think about it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, this is weird. So, very forced. But her hair is fucking terrible. Seriously, what is wrong with Belle-mere? Why is it Belle-mere Asian for? No, but seriously, why haven't they managed to get Belle-mere to shave her head? I mean, am I the only one? Her hair looks freaking terrible. So now they're in Sweden here. There's not in Sweden. This is Sweden then, when she finds, you know, a black kid in 16th century Sweden. There's like likelihood that's like 0, but yeah, like maybe. But she looks nothing like Bellmere. She's a terrible. I don't say her casting is just terrible, but it's just like, you know. The issue with her is that she's obviously, you know, like. You know, Bellmere as a marine actually looks a little more like the actual Bellmere. But yeah, I like, you know, MILF Bellmere looks way less like Bellmere. I have an image here of Bellmere, of course, let's put it up on the screen, right? Where did I save it? Probably here. Yeah. This is, of course, Bellmere, right? Like, why doesn't the actor has her head shaved? This is something that I really hate in this live action. You know, from any kind of standing by adaptation, right? Like, why have they, you know, not shaved her head on the side, you know? We give her a wig that is more shaved than that. It just feels really weird to me that they're missing so many details like that, because it's like, okay, so her hair is longer. You know, you shave off the side of the hair and have the same wig or something. Like, it's not that complicated. It's not that hard. It is not that complicated. Let's see if I have Arlong and Nami talk more. I mean, the show has a lot more pointless dialogue, right? Because it's easier to have a pointless dialogue than having to animate fights or whatever, you know, CGI and so on. That's why the show is so. Nami's doing a puzzle in Baldur's Gate at the same time here. This is how less interest I have. I'm just like, I just want to watch the shit to get it over with. No, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna do the puzzles at the same time here. While they're talking. But nothing happens. So, Arlong is afraid of going to the Grand Line, so I wonder how they're gonna butcher that storyline with him, right? Because it really is just like, why is Arlong... Why did they want the map to the Grand Line for? That guy escaped the Grand Line because he was too pathetic saying the Grand Line, you know what I mean? He couldn't handle it without his big brothers, you know? So... I can't handle it! Oh, damn it. Oh, God. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, it's so bad. I'm crying. Okay, so now Garp is here for some reason. Oh my God, another... Everything with Garp is utter crap. And for one reason, Garp is at Barate now. Like, Garp, the Vice Admiral, hero of the Marines, spending all his bullshit time chasing after Luffy for no reason, you know what I mean? he would get fired immediately. And he's supposed to actually bring Hexhead Morgan back for justice, though. But I mean, obviously Garp is Sengoku, and he is replacing Smokey for some reason. Why isn't this Smoker here instead? Yeah, why isn't this Smoker instead arriving and then chasing after him? Why have Garp running around here, you know, being a fake Garp and... But every Garp scene is terrible. It's how slow it is, how incredibly slow-paced it is. His personality changed completely, and it's just like every KOBY Garp scene are just shit, right? They are purely for filler. Very true to the anime, I guess. Oh, so he's gonna like fight Zeff then? So Garp, if he actually was Garp, he would arrest him because he was a pirate. See, why Garp would arrest him for? Because Garp would arrest him because he's like, oh, you're a pirate, arrest him, yeah, like... Why would Garp be like, okay, I'm just gonna let him live then? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Especially now when this Garp here is much more, like, Sengoku serious. He wouldn't just, like, let Zeff, and Bogart, yeah, has 100 times more screen time. This is what I mean. This is written by a Reddit 12-year-old. Yeah, this is like, oh yeah, my god, Bogart needs to have a lot more voice lines. I mean, Bogart was cool and everything, but like, it's just so force-fed, right? Oh, nice. Zeff is like, he gives him meat. Okay, that makes sense though. Zeff, perhaps if it's meat. That was complete filler though, right? That didn't add anything. That added nothing to the scene. That was funny though, he bribes him with meat, but it adds nothing to the storyline. And that, of course, is the problem, right? With every Garp scene. Every Garp scene is the same. It's like, how does that add anything to the storyline? It's just, why is he at Barate for? And also, why is this village another... one thing I really hate in his live action is that every village is a wrong village, yeah. Like, since when is Nami's home village like some huts or something? Right? How hard is it to get setting? Like, why was Makino living at a beach shank, right? Why was he running a little shackle at the beach, you know? Why was Fusha village an ugly little, like, beach shank, and the mayor was a moose, right? And now suddenly this village is supposed to be like a normal European, you know, Nami's home village is like, you know, a random European village, right? In, I don't know, like 1555 or something, right? Let's say in, like, Normandy or something, yeah, like or maybe in Sussex or whatever, yeah, like something like that, right? Maybe it's Jylland or something, who knows? But something like that. It's just like, okay, but suddenly they're living in huts for some reason. Yeah, the village looks, yeah, you know, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why are they living in some goddamn hut? Oh, I heard they really ruined Nojiko. Yeah, this makes no sense. Nojiko loves Nami, she never does anything bad to her. So what I heard is that Nojiko doesn't also know that Nami is protecting her or something. Which sounds really stupid. Yeah, which sounds... you know, which sounds really dumb for some reason. They don't know she's doing it. Because of course, in the original, they all know that she is... but that's how it seemed there. Like, why would Nojiko spit on her, you know? Like, Nojiko loves her. Nojiko protects her all the time. Nojiko spends all the time protecting her. Even though everyone else hates her kind of thing, right? That is the opposite. So, they feel that they completely rewrote Nojiko, because they're idiots. So, yeah, but I mean, she's black and she's a completely different character. That's what it is! It isn't actually Nojiko. I get it now. I see now. But seriously, you know, that scene was awful. Not because she's black, but because she spit on Nami. Like, why is she doing that for? She's supposed to know that Nami... Because even if the rest of the village basically hates Nami, but they know the truth, so they protect her, Nojiko is always the one taking her side, right? Nojiko is the one protecting her from the other one faking it, basically. So, more or less, right? I mean, you know, not every goddamn scene, but, you know, in general, right? Yeah. But here we go. How are they gonna make the Belle-mere death scene? But again, why are they living in somewhere? Why is the village like some kind of... I just don't know what the village is so different for. I mean, they kept that was good. They kept that scene when he cast him up. Yeah, that was a... Also, Bellmere so isn't there when they... But yeah, why are they living in these small huts for? Every goddamn setting is wrong. Like, they have literally failed every set piece so far to look like they're actually supposed to be. But actually, one thing I don't like with that, even more so, is how random it is, because it's not consistent. Like, are they all living in, you know, Caribbean or something? Not really, because, like, Usop's village, for some reason, was a more city now, and that was, like, Europe, so it's not even consistent. That's better if everyone lives in Caribbeans, you know, but they don't. It's so strange that they already I hate how they changed the flashback because, you know, this scene now when Luffy and all the guys doesn't get why Nami hates them for, right? What she tries to like push them away. That the viewer has the same, you know, understanding. We, the viewer, also know that. So then later, right, Nojiko will explain to them what happened with Arlong and Mom and so on, right? So that's coming later, and then they get, you know, Zoro and Sanji, someone gets why she's doing what she's doing. But now instead, for some reason, the live action is first showing us the flashback and then showing her reacting them. Which completely ruins the dynamic, because now the viewer knows exactly what she's doing it for it. So this is yet another issue of this live action. The live action basically assumes that you read the manga and anime anyway, right? So it's definitely not very well done for if you're a non-anime manga watcher, because most of the changes actually are like that, kind of assuming that, but you already know it anyway, so you kind of like, you know, you cut away the character, whatever, yeah. So this weird assumption, but that's very clear here that they are not building up the Nami personality at all very well. But Nami is probably by far the worst of the group, I would say. Even though I dislike Sora a lot in the beginning, and I still kind of do now, but it's just like how they have really rewritten Nami, like how she's... And unfortunately, because the actress, she's the best actor of them, right? But she's working with shit, right? Yeah, like she looks nothing like Nojiko. And I don't mean because... no, I mean her hair and so on. She doesn't look very similar to Nojiko. I'm sorry, but she doesn't. Like her face, her facial features, she doesn't look... The hair looks terrible, yeah. She doesn't... Honestly, it doesn't look like Nojiko. And it's not because of the skin color. But to be fair, though, she's blue-haired, and it is not that easy to make it work out in reality, to be fair. But yeah, she's nothing like Nojiko. But, so here we have Garp and Zeff doing filler time or something. But like, what does the fuck does this add? What does this add to the storyline? That Garp is here now hanging with Zeff and talking about steak or something. Like, it doesn't add anything. Like, every goddamn Garp scene is just filler. Not only is it a new character, but it doesn't add anything. It's just purely, you know, oh yes, how exciting. Garp and Zeff talking. This is what I mean. This is written by like a 12-year-old Reddit fan, right? That is like, it would be really cool if like Garp and Zeff hang out over steaks. And you know what? Maybe Mihawk and Garp can have like a kissing scene or something. And then, you know, like, I don't know, maybe Jinbei also comes in and like hugs Garp or something. That would be badass. That's it, but didn't add anything. Like, that's it. They just drank wine and did nothing. Fuck, I hate every Garp scene. Holy shit, was that pointless. Oh my effing god, was that pointless. That was even worse than the previous scene. The kids' hair is just so bad. The kids. But like, why can't they do Belemere's hair correctly? You know? Why hard is it to have Belemere's hair? I don't get it. How hard is it to have Belemere having shaved her sides? Why the F can't they do that? Am I the only one? She looks fucking terrible. And this is also a very different scene to it. Yeah, I don't know why. Being under the house is actually a pretty decent change. I don't think it's better, but that's okay. But they removed the scene when they're lying about it. What? Oh my god, they ruined the scene fucking hard, man. Why did they remove the scene for? They removed the scene when she... Because of course the other guys come and say, no, we're going here for... That's a terrible change. Fucking terrible change. Because... The reason is, right, that the other comes telling, the other guys come and say, no, we are guests today, right? And then Bellmere is like, yeah, okay, you know, and then you kind of have the scene, and then she's like, takes a stand, like, no, I love my daughters, right? And she's like, don't lie for me, I have kids, you know, this is my daughters, yeah, and then she kind of stands up for them, you know. Now she just said it immediately, they removed the tension of her lying first, yeah. Because she had that option, because now she didn't have the option to lie anyway, because there was no one there to lie for her. So she couldn't, it was stupid, right? Now she can just defend, you know what I mean, yeah. So that ruined that scene a lot. Because now she could have just, you know, yeah, now she couldn't lie anyway. But anyway, so she's gonna do kind of the same thing here. What a terrible change, seriously. What a effing terrible Bellmere here. That ruined her character a lot. That she just didn't have a chance to lie. Terrible. It's just so bad understanding the characters. They have an incredibly shallow understanding of that was ruined completely. That was terrible. I'm disappointed as hell in this Nami shit. Massively disappointed, guys. Massively effing disappointed, right? Because the Sanji flashback, that was done good. Yeah, the Sanji flashback was good. It wasn't like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it was good, you know. It was authentic, it fit the character, it was acted correctly. It was just a good flashback. The Zoro flashback was pretty fine, right? It wasn't like the good thing ever. The Luffy flashback was worse, especially because I think the kid actor of Luffy was terrible. But it was just like, you know, it was like, okay, they kind of stayed to the source, right? Didn't really change much. And actually the fight with, like, especially the fight then with Usop and so on, that actually looked pretty good, right? And the CGI for Luffy was also the best CGI by far in the show. So they had some good points, right? But this was just terrible. They changed the videos too much, right? Nami and Nojiko is terrible writing the Nami development, because Nami immediately is just like, I hate you, mom! Yeah, like a second, right? It way too fast into that. Then the whole way that Nami and Nojiko is in the village when Arlong comes was silly. The way that, like, she runs home and gets like rifle was silly, because of course in the source material, right, it's more like, I used to be a marine, you know. She got pushes Arlong down on the ground. So Bellmere, it was written as crap here, right? Because Bellmere is way more badass in the manga anime. She actually fights Arlong, right? He buys her rifle off, and he's like, sha fishman, you know. But Bellmere is a much better character in that positive way. So that's better too. Then, of course, Bellmere has the chance, the opportunity to lie, right? Because, yes, they see the 3 plates, but then the other guys arrive and say, oh, we're coming here, guess, blah, 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 you know? And they are like, just lie. And Arlong, of course, and the other guy, and the fishman, they actually believe Bellmere, right? And say, okay, this seems like plausible, like whatever, she's poor, whatever, let's leave, right? So they actually buy it from that sense, right? So Bellmere literally can escape by not doing it, right? But here instead, they removed all the other characters coming there, right? And they didn't really give Bellmere an option to lie anyway, because she's just alone there with 3 food plates, right? And they're hiding next to her in the house for some reason. So Bellmere is just like, oh, no, I have 2 daughters, right? Yeah, like, she just immediately said it, because she couldn't really trick Arlong anyway. She wouldn't be able to fool him, right, in that situation without the other guys lying for her. So it completely removed Bellemere's character, because, of course, the thing is that Bellmere actually can trick Arlong, right? But she decides to refuse to trick Arlong because she doesn't want to lie about being a mom, right? Here instead, she could have just, you know, she was screwed, right? Here Arlong is like, who's the 2 plates? And because no one can help her lie, she's like, if she had lied here and said, oh, it's my, I'm having guests over, right? He wouldn't have believed her, right? So this completely removed Bellemere's, like, you know, badass standpoint, and also again removed her fighting standpoint as well, right? This flashback is completely ruined, and they completely shit on Bellemere's character. Yeah, Bellmere is really effing ruined. By far the worst flashback so far. And yeah, I've been ranting here now when the rat is there, because it's fucking boring anyway. Who cares about why is like 5 minutes of the Shanks being there? Yeah, I don't know. Something Marines no one cares about. Yeah, I don't know. What's the thoughts gonna be? I'm impressed that they ruined Bellemere's flashback. It's just so fucking stupid, you know? It's so stupid. Like, how can it be this bad as writing? Like, they didn't get to character at all. Like, she has to, of course, have the option. Bellmere not having the option to lie doesn't make any sense. It completely removes her character. It's just so terrible. And then we have more of Garp and Helmeppo and KOBY being useless. Filler. This is filler. I mean, this episode is by far the worst episode. This is utter trash. Utter trash episode. But I mean, you thought and both that Bellmere is ruined as a character. That is trash. I mean, obviously, but also this like, oh, we like, oh yeah, here's. That's a good question actually. KOBY is like, why are we wasting time eating steak for? KOBY is going fourth wall meta here. Why have you said, are we in a filler episode? Yeah, KOBY is like, it feels like we're in a filler. Yeah, are we filler characters? It feels like we just hear a padding. Oh, Shuriku! Is that what I said? Are we in a filler episode? Yeah, this is probably not. They can just force to tell them. They have the legal right to force you to tell them. Like, when I say it's so stupid. We're gonna have to bribe you. It's like, no, they keep telling that it goes to yes otherwise. But I guess, you know, Garp is also gonna get to Arlong probably, eventually. It wouldn't surprise me if it ends with Arlong saving Luffy from Arlong or something. And beats Arlong by himself. But like, what the fuck is this? What is this? What does it keep being like Zeff and Garp is talking? I keep saying it, but it is written by a Reddit kid that is like, I want Garp and Zeff to be like best friends, yeah. It would be so cool in my fanfiction. Holy shit. Why does it keep going for? Why does it keep going for? I mean, the episode before this at least was like episode 3 and 4 were boring, yeah. They were boring. 5 was a good episode. 6 was like, okay, it was like somewhat good. Some, you know, Flashback was good, yeah. 6 was like, you know, 50% good, 50% bad, yeah. 1 and 2 also was like 50-50. But this episode here is just crap. This episode is like 100% bad. Now it really became a Netflix adaptation. This is like genuinely a 0-10 episode. Because the only thing they have so far is Nami's flashback ruined and Garp eating steaks for like 30 minutes, yeah. So this episode literally is completely pointless. You can skip over every Garp scene, nothing will matter, right? And you better skip over the Nami shit scenes because they're just pissing on the character station of Belle-mere. Why doesn't Nojiko know the Nami? Why have they rewritten Nojiko and Nami completely? It only is that she's black or whatever, right? But why is Nojiko not aware? Yeah. What? Why is Nojiko not, you know, why does Nojiko know anything? Why have they completely removed? It's just stupid. They completely ruined Nami, Nojiko, and Bellmere. And I keep saying it's not because she happens to be black, it's because she's completely a new character, yeah. That's why she's black, it's because it's like, oh, she hates Nami, she, instead of protecting... Why does she have tattoos for that? The reason she has the tattoos is to protect Nami, you know? This makes no effing sense! The reason she has the tattoos is because she wants Nami to look like, you know, she wants to look like Nami, right? The reason she gets tattoos is so she can protect Nami's, you know, mental state or whatever, right? But now she hates Nami. Why would she have... This fucking show is so empty. It is so bare bone of an actual understanding characters. Holy shit, is it terrible. Like, that is... My god! It's so stupid. Nojiko shouldn't have the tattoos then. Because she doesn't know that Nami is helping her or protecting her. It is so stupid. My god. And I know people are gonna defend this. Maybe that's why she's black, because they know they can't write. So they're like, well, let's make her another skin color. Because it feels like they know. It feels like, because I know that, you know, complaining that Nojiko is a terrible written character, right? And Nami was whatever, that they completely ruined Belle-mere and Nojiko. Complaining about this, right? People also gonna say, oh, you said that because she's white. No, I'm saying that because they completely rewrote the character. That's the issue. That she doesn't know what I'm doing it. It's a plot hole. Why does she have tattoos for? If she doesn't know that Nami is helping her. What does she hate her sister for? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why did Bellmere not lie and so on? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. They ruined Bellmere, they ruined Nojiko 100%. Yeah, why didn't you tell her 10 years ago when it actually happened in the manga? So why do you have tattoos for them, Nojiko? Explain that. Now you can barely see them anyway because they're poorly done, they're poorly like fake tattoos. I mean, clearly the actress has have tattoos, clearly it's drawn on her, so it looks pretty shit. But it's like, and her hair looks terrible too. But I mean, oh, I just can't do this. This is so terrible. Yeah, why? This is again a fanfiction. This is like, oh, but I want to have Nojiko crying. I want to have Nojiko be crying here. That she hates Nami. Even though it never actually happened in the manga. I want that because that would be like really cute something. And now of course these guys arrive. But after she, you know, her Nojiko meeting up for no reason. So this scene looks less dramatic or it makes less logic on me because now because you know in the manga her treasure isn't up on the ground so you can find it, right? But now because of Nojiko, this treasure is used. This doesn't make no sense. The Grand Line is what Fishman lives. Yeah, he's like, maybe we'll claim the Grand Line, but that's where they really live. The Grand Line is where the Fishman are 1,000 times more, yeah. The Fishman Island is in there. So is Fishman Island in the Grand Line or something? This really is written like the Fishman Island isn't in the Grand Line. It's like straight up made no sense. That is terrible. That doesn't make any sense giving Arlong's backstory at all, right? So now they have to rewrite Arlong's backstory with Jinbei, Kizaru, and Fish Tiger. They're not from the Grand Line, they're somewhere else in the world. I mean, this must make sense because Nojiko explained everything perfectly in the manga. But no, as Nojiko didn't know shit this time, he doesn't actually know. So, He actually doesn't know what's going on, because Nojiko couldn't explain to him what's going on. It's really dumb. I mean, Attare Maida yo! I do my own voice here. Attare Maida yo! I mean, yeah, it feels way less emotional given how incredibly fail Belle-mere was. That scene really was terrible, every possible. No. Come on, I need a screams in the list. I need to set up a scream list. I need to be like, Attare Maida yo! There we go. He's building up for the scream. There we go. Yeah, that was really low. Why did they zoom into his face and so on? Her cry looks terrible. Why did they zoom into his face for? Why didn't they do that thing? Because the sun and so on. Yeah, the walk. Gonna have the walk. Oh, it's so cheesy, man. But they only know half the backstory now. Yeah, and just like Johnny already there to like block and so on for Sorrow. And stopping the, stopping the civilians and so on. Yeah. It also happens in daytime, right? Later on and so on. It's so much weird changes. I need like a mental break after this episode. This was by far the worst episode. Oh my god, was it terrible. At least the last scene was like somewhat bearable, yeah. Attare Maida yo! At least that scene was somewhat bearable. It wasn't like the worst. But it's even strange, like they didn't zoom in on his face. And those stuff just makes it worse, like, because that's a better way in the manga and anime, right? It zooms in on his face, right, and he screams, and so it on her eye crying, and it was way to the blood and so on. I think one thing is very weird in this live action is that in the beginning it was very bloody, right? Like Mr. Seven gets cut in half and so on, right? But now when Nami is doing the dagger thing, it was barely any blood there. It should be like gushing blood, I don't know. I feel like they nerfed that stuff after the first episode, which is kind of strange. With Mary and so on too. Yeah, and then I actually reduced the blood and gore and so on a lot, right? That scene should have been way more explosive in the original. But the last scene was like fine. It wasn't like the worst thing ever. But everything leading up to that point was utter trash. And of course, there's about logic, right, of them helping Nami doesn't make much sense, right? Let's talk about it. What can I say, right? It doesn't make any sense, like Nojiko. Oh my god, Nojiko is black. Yeah. But it's funny though that the least it's funny though that the least issue. It's funny though that the Nojiko being black is the least issue with her. If that makes sense, I hope that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like everything with Nojiko is effing terrible. It's just so bad, right? So of course, Nojiko doesn't know that Nami is protecting them, which doesn't make any sense, right? This is a massive plot hole. As this image here, Nojiko happens to be black, but she also has tattoos on her, right? Nojiko has these tattoos, I keep saying it, right? Because to have something similar to Nami, right? Nami comes home, right, after Arlong enslaves her, and is money in map, and Nojiko cracks and so on, and then Nojiko starts getting her tattoos, right, so she can look like Nami to help Nami, right, And later on, of course, after after the arc is over, right, Nami of course gets her tattoo redone, right, with the pinwheel and so on, and then similar to Nojiko, right. So Nojiko supporting her sister is completely gone, right. So they just completely ruined her character. Like Nojiko's character is so ruined, and it's fascinating. And I just keep saying it. I really hate. Okay, I will say it again. So Nojiko's character is completely ruined, and everything is just terrible. Right? And I truly hate how everyone's gonna say that you're saying that because she happens to be this, But no! It is ruined because she doesn't know that Nami is doing anything, right? So Nojiko can tell them the truth. Nojiko tattoos are a plot hole because the tattoos are to protect Nami, right? So why would Nami let it get... It doesn't make any sense, right? Nojiko is spitting on her. Nojiko is supposed to know everything, right? Protecting Nami from the villagers and so on, right? That's not true, but she's doing it like a shield between them, right? And then eventually motivating Luffy and the gang, right, to like, this is the truth, here it is, right? Now instead, she doesn't know anything, and she comes up here, and then she's really stupid. And unfortunately, because she's played by a black actress, everyone's kind of defending, saying that, oh, you say that because she's black. No, I'm saying it because she's a completely other character. She's written as a completely other character, okay? The issue is that Nojiko is a completely other character. Not that she happens to be black. It's like she has a completely changed storyline, you know? Massive storyline. Her and Nami's dynamic are completely gone. That's the issue. Not that she happens to be a black woman. It's a plot hole now because her tattoos, right? Her tattoos makes no sense. And she also looks really ugly in the blue wig though, but yeah. That's another thing. But whatever. Holy shit. And then we got Belle-mere, which was even worse. Belle-mere was even dumber, right? Belle-mere does... My god. Removing the scene when Belle-mere, right, has the guys coming to and lying for her, right? That they're coming in there, running in there saying that, well, okay, we are guests here, right? Arlong falling for that lie, so she can lie and says that she lives alone, right? And then the guys are like, yes, we did it, you know, she's gonna be fine. And Nami and Nojiko aren't officially, you know, on the paper, on the registry, because she didn't, you know, give birth. So, you know, because the thing is that, and it's a huge plot hole missing, right? Because, you know, the thing is that Arlong and his guys, they have the actual, you know, like kind of the city legislator, right? So they know that Bellmere officially has no children, right? That's why they believe her lie. So there's like a huge thing that they're like, oh yeah, and this guy's coming alive for her. And, yeah, we can escape it, right? And then Bellmere is like, yeah, screw it! I'm a mom! I'm a MILF, you know? And then she screams, and you know, and then there's like, no, Bellmere, right? And that thing happens, right? That's like a huge thing that Bellmere actually could lie. That Bellmere had the option to just tell Arlong that she has no kids and that she will be alive, right? But she stands up for her. She's like, I love my daughters. And she's like, fuck you, Arlong, right? I have daughters, right? And then he kills her, right? With the whole deal and so on. That thing is completely removed because they just like didn't understand basic writing. So they're like, oh, we could that. Let's say they have Garp and Zeff eating dinner for like 20 minutes. That adds absolutely nothing instead of having Bellmere and Arlong scene being 10 times better. So they completely shit on Nojiko and Bellmere. 100% ruined characters. Holy shit, was this episode terrible. 0 out of 10 episode. Jesus Christ, was it wrong. Everything was wrong in this episode. Not only everything with Nojiko and Bellmere, but again, you know, the Garp and Zeff are completely pointless, right? Completely filler. 0 out of 10 episodes. 0 out of 10. Only the very last minute, or the only thing that was decent, when Luffy's like, Atarimaidayo! That was the only scene that was like, okay, this is like watchable. Everything up to that point was shit. That being said though, right? That Luffy and Zoro and so on are gonna protect Nami makes less sense here, because Nojiko couldn't tell them the truth! Because Nojiko is supposed to tell them everything, right? About Mom and Nami and the money and everything, and she can't because she doesn't know the truth, so it still doesn't really motivate. You can say that it's enough for them to know half the truth, but you know, that's also like a plot hole, right? Holy shit. And then lastly, Arlong is like, we're gonna conquer the Grand Line. We're gonna finally go to the Grand Line. Let's go, guys, Grand Line time. But of course, Arlong is afraid of the Grand Line because he's a pathetic loser, right? He doesn't want to go to the Grand Line, and Fishman Island is the Grand Line, where there are thousands of more fishmen and mermen and so on, mermaids there. So why is he like, yeah, we're gonna go to the Grand Line because no fishmen is over there? Massive plot hole. Is Fishman Island in the Grand Line anymore? Doesn't make any goddamn sense. Terrible. Terrible. Everything at all. Yeah, he's like, why are Gorpits for? Yeah, good question. Like, why is he Vice Admiral here for? Isn't he like 500 times too strong for these enemies? Good question. Like, why is Garp here? He's like, why isn't Captain Smoker here or something? He's like, he's stationed next to the island. He should ask him, like, why isn't Smoker here for? He's like a much more reasonable character to appear here, yeah. Why isn't Smoker in this anime for? Or live action for? Oh my god, this is so stupid. It's like the writers are hard on for Garp, and Garp has to be Garp has to meet every character you never met in the exhaust clear. It's so bad. No, filler Garp. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Just make it end. It's only 40 minutes left on this torture. I don't wait the villagers. Of course, they're already too late, you know, when this happens. Here they are. Nami was in there too. Looks badass. But Zoro is like healed or something now. Yeah, it's like weird too that Zoro isn't in you that anymore. It's also weird that Zoro is like... Usop is useless as always, of course. But yeah, Zoro is like fine now. So we don't have the scene. We're all gonna have the scene when Arlong is like, this guy got too much damage. That was of course before this thing happens, yeah. We could have had that if we didn't have like 20 minutes of Garp eating food instead. But okay, let's see if Usop can do anything. Okay. Sort of running and running, so stupid. Oh my god, it sort of looks so but Sora doesn't have 3 sports anymore. That's true, I guess. Yeah, so now Shu and Usop are fighting at least. At least they're gonna do that, right? Yeah, at least they're gonna have the Shu Usop fight. Yeah, they need to have that at least, yeah. Okay, yeah, we're back to the Usop fight. Well, at least they're keeping the Usop Shu fight, I guess, because Usop hasn't done anything for like 7 episodes, right? So I know it's the first episode, but still, he didn't do much different. Like Usop's presence in episode 1 and 5 was the same. Yeah, Usop's like importance in episode 1, 2, 5, 4, yeah, like they were the same basically. 3 and 4, it is like voice lines, but this makes like no sense. Arlong will never care about this at all. Yeah, Arlong knows he's too weak to go to the Grand Line. Arlong is, you have to remember, Arlong is a pathetic loser hiding from the stronger guys. Arlong knows very well that he's too weak to leave his blue, right? Thing is that Luffy has like, so far Luffy had only had terrible fights though, in this live action. So there's like nothing that really makes me think he can fight though. Because he didn't fight on Krieg or so on, yeah. And he barely fought Kuro. You know, and he barely fought Buggy and so on. So there's like no build up for Luffy to be strong either. It's kind of weird. And they clearly can't really, you know, CGI Luffy's body, so he's gonna use his shark things. Are they gonna have all of it that shark teeth? I'll be very surprised if they keep all of it with the shark teeth. Yeah, I'll be very, very surprised. But at least Usop has some screen time. Yeah, I mean, that's good at least, but poor Usop, yeah. But you know, they removed Hatchan and so on, so I don't know who Zoro's gonna fight even. Yeah. Like, honestly, what is Zoro doing here? At least he just betrays them, but yeah, but it's like... I don't know. That this didn't add... It doesn't add anything that Buggy is there. It's just pointless. It's just like fan service. Yeah, it's fan service for fan service sake, right? Like, why is Buggy even there for? Like, he's just like, hey, F you guys that did us away. Yeah, it's like, okay, I guess that was really unnecessary and like... That was terrible. Because the explosion should have been higher up, right? Yeah, that was terribly done. The explosive should have been like a meter or 2 meters higher up. That didn't make any sense. Why was the explosion so on the ground for? That was just like really bad CGI there. Like they could even put the VFX in correct. He looks more burned up though. That's brutal. Yeah, he looked more scorched now, but the explosion was really stupidly done. He's a bad actor. I can't. He's Inaki's shit. It's a terrible line that was. Yeah, Jesus Christ. He doesn't deliver with any emotion. So unemotional delivery in the show at all. He's never even left the island. This is the first time they're animating Gatling gun. Given that they skipped over basically every other fight to this point, right? More or less, yeah. The fight is a little action because Arlong isn't flying around and so on. Arlong looks like a complete pushover, right? What happened to all the flying and so on? You know, it's so much lacking in what actual fights in. But see, these are decent. These look decent. It's not like the greatest CGI ever, but yeah, it's like, okay. You know. But I think a massive issue is that Arlong didn't do anything, so... But Arlong was like a complete pushover. Arlong didn't use any of his powers, basically. So, it makes it really weird that Luffy can just destroy a whole building, but Arlong couldn't fly and so on. Because Arlong didn't do the flying, he didn't do the speed thing, he didn't do the shark thing. It's like, Arlong used basically 0 abilities, right? And that feels really off-putting in the whole fight. It's like a really weird balance, you know. Yeah, Arlong really performed insanely terrible here. They removed all of Arlong's feature, basically. Now, of course, he gets up like nothing happened. He's like completely non-injured. Arlong didn't do anything. Arlong never even bit him, right? Yeah, did he even take any damage? Like, Arlong didn't even hurt him. Arlong didn't even, like, hurt him, right? It's like, basically not. Arlong threw him into the wall, like, once. Arlong didn't make him bleed or anything. That fight was shit. That fight was just shit. It really was. And people, oh, you just got trained. No, I was trained. What did Arlong do? Arlong didn't use any abilities. Arlong didn't do anything. He didn't fly around. He didn't shoot stuff. He didn't do the, the throwing water stuff. How hard is it to do that thing? Why couldn't Arlong at least do the, the fishman cut out there when he throws water, Yeah, when he does like, the fishman dart and so on. They removed Arlong didn't use a single ability, like straight up. He only healed his teeth, right? Well, he didn't do more teeth stats. He did the shoot teeth, so yeah. Arlong straight up used like 0 attack abilities. Very, very strange decision making there. Because I mean, how hard is it? He did throw water in episode 6, I know, but how hard is it to have, basically Arlong and Luffy fight, right? Arlong having some water and throwing water at him, right? And then making Luffy be like, oh, whatever. How hard is it to do that? That's not even hard to act. Yeah, it's like, I don't understand why they couldn't have Arlong do something. Like, or bite him, or bleed up, or bite his hand or something. I don't know, it's just weird. I really wonder what they did with Hatcha for. What's the point of that? Yeah, like, what's the point of having Zoro having a non-fight? Right? That was like a really weird, like, change. Like, why is Hatcha not there for? As I said earlier, because Hatcha could also, reoccurs later, but even if it didn't, why remove Zoro's fight for? Oh my god. Why have they changed it so much for? Why? Here goes Garp again. Yeah, and it's Bogashan. Yeah, here goes Garp and Luffy. This is such a stupid. So now Garp is also Akainu or something, because now Garp is standing up to him. Yeah, this feels more like that. This feels more like Akainu scene. He's like, no! Peace! Yeah, now go. See? They are acting constantly like it's Marineford. There's like Mihawk thinks it's Marineford too. KOBY thinks it's Marineford. And also Garp never casts about order ever. So yeah, Garp is a completely other character. Garp is Akainu now. So Garp is Akainu. He's gonna kill Luffy now. He's gonna punch him so hard it dies. Pirate Ping! This would make more sense if you actually had Garp and Luffy's backstory being built up and so on. And also now we know that they're not friends. I mean, yeah, like, this is basically assuming that that Garp and Roger are friends and so on. You know what I mean? It's written like you're supposed to have already know that. It really is written like, but that Garp and they're bros, right? Yeah. Like, it's really weird if you're not a source reader. I cannot be the fan of Nami, even if Nick. Like, yeah, whatever. And then Garp is like, yeah, whatever. I shouldn't be here in the storyline, but that must be the cute. Yeah, Garp is like, that's a cool waifu. Let's just ignore it and keep going. And Garp is like, he's like, yeah, whatever. I guess this makes not sense, but whatever. Yeah, but see, Garp acting like, now he's more Garpy, right? But because earlier he was like, oh, let go and so on, this makes less sense. If he acted more like Garp should act towards KOBY, then this in here would also make more sense, right? There would be more build-up for Garp's personality. But now, because they're like, who is Garp? We don't know how to write or whatever, yeah. And again, Belemere's that scene was by far the worst. I mean, the Nami flashback is so shitty compared to... I mean, it's so sad too, when Sanji's flashback was perfectly fine, yeah. Sanji's flashback was good, and then Nami's flashback is utter shit, man. It's like, oh, I'm so disappointed. I mean, actually disappointed, because I didn't think they're gonna manage to butcher it so much, like removing all the fun details of it. See, they're probably gonna have a lot of Easter eggs, probably a smoke or something. They're probably gonna have like 10 minutes of Easter eggs. But also, they removed the guy doing that too, I guess. He's not in the live action. He's not in the show, I guess, but still, couldn't we have Nojiko doing it? It just seems so a Plothole. It's just so a clear Plothole now that she has the tattoos before she knows the truth. Oh, it's so bad writing. Oh. Is she gonna rob them when she leaves, like she does? Yeah, because, I mean, obviously the villagers are more like, Nami, you little rascal, They're more happy with her, right, in the manga and anime. But now when they all hated her, that will make also less sense if she robs them now. Yeah, Nojiko and Belle-mere were completely different characters. Well, now KOBY's here? Why is KOBY not the main character for? Why is KOBY so much screen time for? What is their fetish for KOBY, man? Why are they fetishing KOBY for? They have a turn on for KOBY, Helmeppo, and Garp. Yeah, it's like, why is KOBY here for? And remember that in the manga, right, KOBY as this whiny little loser guy doesn't basically exist, right? Because he's like only there for for the beginning. Then we do the time skip, but then we do the, Water 7, and then it's like he's muscular and so on. Yeah, so they should have recast him then to do this role. But because Arlong was such an incredible pushover, and Don Krieg didn't exist and so on, this like feels like nothing. Because they haven't shown what Arlong can do, right? They haven't, like, I mean, the fights on this live action are effing terrible. And they haven't really shown how Arlong could do it all the Krieg and so on. The Krieg also was a pushover, right? Yeah, so it's like that Luffy now has the highest bounty. It doesn't mean anything, because it's like, oh, the highest bounty because you pushed that shark guy twice or something. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you defeated the level 1 shark enemy. Yeah, great, you're the strongest person ever now. It's like, really? And because Garp didn't show his powers at all, right? Garp faked, you did throw the cannonball immediately and so on. Everyone looks so much weaker, so it's like, okay, yeah, sure. You beat that fish guy that for some reason has never been in the Grand Line, even though he's born in the Grand Line. Yeah, like, you beat the fish guy that apparently isn't born in the Grand Line anymore. Good job, Luffy, yeah, good job. That guy, he couldn't do anything. He didn't do his water attacks, he didn't fly, he did the shit. Yeah, you beat that guy that was like in an ugly fish suit. Yeah, that incredible performance, which never happens though. That is Udo's fault as well, though. But that's an issue in the manga, though. Don't get me wrong. That's an issue in the manga, though. The Zoro is like, oh no, we got a bounty? They're gonna come after us. It never happens, yeah. They're never attacked by any bounty hunters. That is silly, though, that no one ever cares. Okay, there's Makino living in her shack again, yeah. Makino, there's nothing like Makino. Man, she's ugly. Compared to Makino, Jesus Christ. And she's living in a shack at the beach. Are we gonna see old Kaya too? The 45-year-old Kaya actor? Yeah, I knew it. But here she is, the old lady. Yeah, it's Kaya in her 40s. Like 30 years older than Kaya. Yeah, of course. She's like, oh my god, that's my Usop, my boyfriend though. Yeah, with the short nose. My god, he's only like 30 years young. Zeff that didn't fight and he was fed Garp, so that was cool. But I mean, this is kind of typical in manga, right? That they all look at the bounties. Yeah, of course, but they all gonna look at the bounties, right? Yeah, they're all gonna have the bounties in. Alvida gonna come here now? Is she teen now? Alvida's here now. Is she hot though? There's no way they ever. Yeah, of course she isn't! There was no way in hell that Alvida was gonna be attractive now. Yeah, exactly. This was so pathetic. It's so pathetic, right? There was no way in hell that Alvida and Buggy's team up is gonna have a hot Alvida. Yeah, there was no way in hell that Alvida would be attractive. Yeah, no, she's still fat and ugly. Yeah, of course she is. Like, of course she is. There was 0% chance that Alvida now was gonna be attractive. That was just completely. It was never gonna happen. Oh, it's such a joke, man. Like, I mean, imagine Ivanko and Yamato and someone later on in live. Oh my god. And then the scene when Ivanko makes that guy in the prison into a hot woman, a naked hot lady, a gender peasant woman. It is never gonna happen. Oh my god. They were like, here's Alvida. She's still obese. Oh my god, it's so pathetic. It's so easy. You just have an attractive woman in a fat suit and then remove the fat suit. Yeah. And what could it be? It's like, it's the easiest casting ever. Yeah, so now it's finally teaching us to train, actually. After 8 episodes of not doing anything proper with KOBY and Hamapo, now he's finally gonna train them. Here goes Shanks and Mihawk. Oh, they need to have the fan service. Oh, fan service. Oh, yeah. Easter egg and fan service. Rockstar, man. Where's the other crew, man? Where's the guy with the monkey? Where's the guy with the tiny monkey, man? Ben Beckman everyone hates. Poor Ben Beckman. Yeah, everyone is like, terrible acted Belle-mere. Why did not have her shave her hair for? That was weird. We come back to Belle. Why was her hair not shaved for? Oh god damn it, how can it be? When living in the city where they're recording it, yeah. It's like a woman living over there, it's like, she can be Kaya, yeah. It's like simple dream to actually fulfill for Usop. Hasn't Usop already done his dream? Yeah, in the manga, yeah, arguably he has, right? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people complain about that, it keeps going back to be a coward, but review it, guys. The pain is finally over. But seriously, the last 2 episodes were the worst. That's the worst thing to, yeah, it really became a shitstorm. The last episode 7 was just dreadfully bad. So that was like a massive shit, right, on the whole of One Piece. The way they rewrote Nojiko and Bellmere and so on was just like painful. That was just so painful. Of course, I said earlier in the episode 7 review. Episode 8 was of course better than 7. Don't get me wrong. Obviously episode 8 was better. Like that improved on the previous episode. Yeah. So it's finally over. The pain, the suffering. Let's be honest here, episode 8 was much better than episode 7. I will do probably a full review tomorrow, I think, with the whole team, right? Talking about, I don't know, I might just be like, this is all the mistakes or whatever, I don't know. But 8, clearly better than 7. It was a much better episode than 7. But the thing with 8, right, was the Arlong fight was very short. And this obsession with Garp has been a massive issue for the whole show, right? And of course, it comes to its climax in episode 8 when Garp fights Luffy. And in a way, I have to say this, no. If we ignore the source, right? Of course, it makes sense that he's fighting Luffy, right? Because otherwise, the build-up for Garp chasing after them would make no sense. So they have to fight right now, and Garp has so much screen time. Definitely. But according to Luffy's actual source and the world building and so on, it makes zero sense that Garp is doing this for weeks, right? Following after them, fighting him, letting him go for some reason. Yeah, it's really, really stupid. That he talks to Zeff and so on. So, no, in total, it was utter shit. But it had to happen, given how much screen time Garp had, right? That was, of course, clear. Absolutely. But the Arlong fights, basically, is how the episode starts, right? The Arlong fight was really, really terrible. And I know people are going to cope and say, no, the Arlong fight is terrible. It's fucking terrible. Luffy doesn't do much. He just punches him a few times, then does a kick, right? And Arlong does effing nothing. Arlong doesn't do any abilities. All doesn't throw water at him. All doesn't do his like shark attacks. All doesn't do short torpedo. All doesn't do his chick thing, right? And you can say that, oh, but it looks silly. No, the thing is that Arlong could at least fly at him a few times, because Arlong was played off as a complete pushover, right? Arlong having no abilities means he's just a guy in an ugly fishman suit, because Arlong looks terrible too, right? So Arlong is just a guy in an ugly suit. He showed no power whatsoever. So then Luffy beating him, and then Luffy getting a new bounty, and KOBY is like, KOBY is like, here's a bounty. You're the strongest guy in East Blue basically now. That doesn't mean anything, because Arlong was such a terrible fighter. You're like, yeah, beating that guy didn't mean shit, right? Because he was like an ugly guy in a fishman suit. But if Arlong had been flying around, throwing stuff, breaking pillars, throwing houses around at Luffy, whatever, right? If Arlong actually did, his correct moves, beating him would look way more impressive, of course. And then the bounty would make more sense. That is the highest bounty. Now, Luffy beat an ugly guy in a fish suit, and he didn't even fight Don Krieg, right? So, Luffy's accomplishments are very, very minuscule here compared to the manga and anime. So, it doesn't mean shit that he's like the strongest guy in East Blue. Oh, you beat that guy? Oh, great. He was like a blue person. Yeah, that was awesome. Like, it's just so silly. I don't know what Hatchan's removed for. And that is not just a nitpick, right? Hatchan being removed. So people will defend and say, oh, you're nitpicking, he doesn't matter. Hatchan is weird because, of course, then Zoro has no fight, right? Zoro instead just fights random goons, and then he also fights with Sanji, which makes Sanji looks weaker, right? As well, because Sanji couldn't solo a person, or had to have a help and so on. And Sanji is supposed to fight in the water too. So why weren't he fighting in the water for? Why did he stay in the water for? Like, this doesn't make sense either. So Sanji looks like a pushover as well, because there isn't, right? And Zoro doesn't do anything really. Obviously, Zoro's Arlong sleeve was removed, which is a massive mistake, because while Zoro owns Hatchan and so on, etc., but the whole thing is that Arlong is very impressed, right? That Zoro can be alive with his massive wound, right? So Zoro being badass is removed. Zoro basically just slightly injured. Since the Mihawk thing, he's like that also. So the whole thing is nerfed Everon. Everon's power level are immensely weakened, right, in the storyline. Of course, Garp is like tremendously weakened, right? So yeah, everyone's power level is very, very low, and the whole like, oh, this guy's a warlord, this guy's talking about Jinbei and so on, that doesn't mean anything, and they also kind of gloss it over very, very quickly. So they didn't really explain. I think if I was a non-manga anime watcher, the Jinbei line wouldn't really, in episode 7, yeah, it wouldn't really make any sense, right, compared to Mihawk and so on, because again, Mihawk, his actions aren't that good. Zoro's performance is terrible compared to the manga and anime, right? So you wouldn't be able to scale Jinbei or Arlong or nothing like that, right? And of course, in the end of episode 7, Arlong basically is not born, I guess, in the Grand Line. So that is something weird as well, right? They did remove the village running over there. Yosuke and Johnny is removed, so they didn't have the scene either. So that's also kind of weird. that changes a bit. And the village looks effing terrible. I really hate how they changed every setting for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, Nami's village is like a Swedish town somewhere, right? Nami basically grew up in Sweden, right? She's from Sweden, and her hometown could easily be a Swedish village, or Danish or whatever. But now instead, they're living in huts, and everyone seems to be Asian or something. So it's like Southeast Asia or something? I don't know, but it looks like a hut village in like a poor city in Southeast Asia, 1,000 years ago. That's how it looks. Yeah, more of that. It looks like a tiny hut village like 3,000 years ago in like, I don't know, somewhere in Southeast Asia, yeah, like Cambodia or something, Laos. Yeah, it looks like Angkor, yeah, like outside Angkor Wat. Yeah, it's like, why? It doesn't make any sense. She's supposed to live in like, you know, like a European city. Yeah, it's like, okay. And that just doesn't add, that just makes it, you know, everything weaker, because when Arlong throws the house, right? Arlong throws like a villa, you know, like a European, you know, 16th, 17th century house, right? That weighs a lot more than a little wood hut. Yeah, so it just makes him look weaker too. Like those stuff is really weird. But yeah, the scene when Garp enters this hut village, it looks so ridiculous. Yeah, like what is that? Like, but anyway, Garp of course Garp basically has like an Akainu scene with KOBY, right? Which is really weird. And then KOBY comes back later to give him the bounty. Also really weird. Also really weird that Garp is spending so much time with KOBY and Meppo, yet he finally starts training them after the thing is over, right? It should have immediately been training them. Yeah, it should have been, it's like, why am I doing this Go thing? No, you should take KOBY and have them to the dojo immediately and test how, you know, much willpower they have by fighting them, right? That would be much more interesting and much more Garp-like, instead of like, oh, I will teach you martial art now, basically, then it's over. I've been every episode, yeah, think about that too. How much more exciting would it be to see Garp fighting Meppo and KOBY and a bunch of other cadets, right? And like showing them martial art or whatever, showing them hockey or whatever, like fighting them, so whatever, right? Instead of having like, Garp and Zeff drinking wine for 10 minutes. Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, it's such a boring. Every Garp thing is really boring. Oh god, the Zeff Garp was just so stupid. And then there's more plot holes too. In general, like this is more nitpicky, but like, you know, when they're hanging out at Barate, the first 2 episodes of Barate, there's a lot of people there, right? But for some reason, when KOBY and Meppo are drinking, there's no customers anymore. Yeah, like that. Those things that I hate too. Those are just like really stupid minor mistakes. Because that's a nitpick though, obviously. But like, if you're gonna have this like very popular, you know, restaurant, it's like 50 people there last day, why suddenly it would be empty when they are there for it? It's not like the Marines are is taking. I mean, I guess you can also do some of them are pirates, but most customers aren't pirates there. And you know, Full Body is a Marine himself in the first episode when he gets there. So no, the Marine goes there to eat, right? Like Full Body. So what? So it's not like they're gonna scare away all the customers. So that didn't make any sense. So that's very weak. And of course the whole Nojiko having the tattoos, and then the end we just like skip over Nami getting the tattoo and she just has it. And there's no like, obviously it doesn't make any sense because again Nojiko should know the truth before that, right? And so now she's like, yeah, I fixed your tattoo, girl. Like, yeah, you go, sis. But that was so much weaker, right? Because again, Nojiko not having that actual, oh, I got the tattoo, you have a tattoo. No, I make your tattoo my tattoo, and so on, right? You know, that thing, that whole emotional connection is completely gone, right, in this live action. Since they rewrote Belle-mere and Nojiko for no reason whatsoever. It really didn't add anything. It was just really effing stupid having Nojiko not know the truth. It didn't change at all, right? And then of course they removed the jokes of like Nami robbing everyone and so on. So they removed her charm completely. Yeah, but it's a bit sad too because in episode 1 and 2 Nami was funnier. Yeah, the performance was better in the beginning. She was stealing people's loot and so on. Yeah, but they missed it completely. She didn't rob the people at the village and so on. Yeah, they completely removed her like cat burgling charming. You know, missed out on that, right? So they like the dynamic Nami had with everyone in her hometown was just completely ruined. Just straight up with all the other people too, not just Nojiko. Yeah, they completely ruined Nami as a character. Absolutely shit. They took a big dump on Nami, Nojiko, and Bele-mere, and everyone else around them, right? Really shitty. And then what more happened? I don't want to think about it. Well, yeah, Shanks and Mihawk meets up. I mean, that scene was fine. Yeah, that was like kind of like the manga, right? Those like meet-up scenes. Something like that. Maybe I forgot something, but that's kind of the review, guys. Make another video for tomorrow, ranting more about it. But holy shit, is it terrible? Yeah, Bellmere. I mean, I'm actually disappointed how much they managed to fuck up 7 and 8 here, right? Just given how 6 actually was decent, right? Given how Zoro's flashback was just fine. Given how Sunny's flashback was pretty good, actually. I am honestly disappointed how they managed to go from, oh, it's a pretty good flashback, you know, yeah, like, okay, now it's like, oh, this is absolute shit, yeah, like, okay, oh my god, they removed all the details from why this scene made any sense. Like I said in the last episode 7, I said it one more time, right, removing the whole context that they lied for Bellmere, that that Arlong has the registry, right? The legacy for the people living there, and that all the guys are lying for Bellmere, and she's refusing to lie, even though she could easily have lied and saved herself and Nojiko Nami, but she refuses to lie because I'm a good mommy, right? That was a massive oversalt, like a huge, spitting on her face kind of feel to it. But anyway, please subscribe, tap and have a great day.